FBI keeping close watch on a standoff in Oregon as the lead agency in charge now. This as questions emerge about what's next for an armed militia taking over a federal building at a wildlife refuge. The group says they're patriots, and initially they were standing up for two ranchers facing prison time, but now they're saying their fight is bigger than that. Take a listen.
They're here to enforce the supreme law of the land, which is the U.S. Constitution. Article 1, Section 8, Paragraph 17, and that's to take this land whereby 100 ranchers have been forced off of this land since 1908 and to restore it back to Harney County and those ranchers that have been thriving on this land.
Danny Colson is a former FBI Deputy Assistant Director and Rescue Team Commander. And Danny, you have some specific knowledge with this part of the country and this specific group. Tell us about that.
Well, I commanded the FBI division in Oregon for a number of years, and I've dealt with this particular group. And I will tell you, these are regular individuals. They are very much patriots, and they never commit acts of crime, except, I guess, in this case there's an arson situation. But I think they're looking for a forum here. I had a direct negotiation with them on a matter in Oregon, and I met with the leaders and had some good dialogue. And the key word here, Jenna, is patience. Let these people speak their piece. They have the same concerns about our government that a lot of people have in our country, frankly, and they want a forum, and I think they're going to get it. And the big danger here, though, is that somebody in their group does something foolish and institutes some sort of a dangerous situation. The FBI has to be very careful about that. But the Bureau has a lot of experience dealing with these guys. They have great negotiators, and if things go as norm, this should be peacefully resolved. I don't have much doubt about that.
The supporter that we heard from, and Dan Springer's on the scene, he was doing an interview. That's the clip that we just ran from a man named Pete Santilli. He said, if violence is to come, it will be because of the FBI. Because that is the question. There's a lot of hypothetics that even our viewers are hearing, and certainly the media is asking about what's next. So what did you learn from dealing with this specific group that you think the FBI should apply now?
Well, I think they're as much aware of it as I am, frankly. They're very good at these things. Basically, patience and face-to-face dialogue. They like to talk to a mature FBI agent that has a lot of experience. They can have a dialogue with them and not be afraid of them and deal face-to-face. That's the only way to deal with it. Trying to talk on a phone or through the media doesn't work. The FBI knows that. The FBI has a presence there. And I guarantee you the FBI will not generate any kind of violent action. They're not going to do that. If it happens, it'll come from the other side. And that's why you need to get their leader on board with you to say, okay, you need to make a point here. You need to say things that a lot of people are thinking, but don't do something stupid. Don't do something ridiculous that's going to cause injury to your people or our people, and it'll work out. That's the key.
There are those that say, they are breaking the law. They are going into a federal building that it doesn't belong to them, and they're occupying essentially that building, and there are laws and they have to be followed. So what about that argument, Danny? How long do you let this sort of play out?
Well, I think you have to think of consequences here. It is against the law, but the consequences of an armed confrontation between our government and private citizens in a situation like this is something we have to avoid at all costs. If it takes a month, that's fine with me. I don't really care. It's a building. Lives are more important, more precious than anything we have on this earth. And I know I'm enforcing the law. I'm a lawyer. I'm an FBI agent, or was, and I believe in the enforcement of the law. But common sense has to reign here.
We certainly don't want to break any laws in front of you, even now, Danny, because we know that you mean business. There are these comparisons, again, when you see these scenarios, and we have to be responsible as members of the media and also in our conversations that when we make comparisons and we hear words like Ruby Ridge, for example, come up, that they fit here. And so I want to ask you a little bit of, so tell us why, and also address this other concern that seems to be emerging throughout the media today, is that there's some sort of double standard. This is a rural part of the country. These are white men with guns. If it was folks of a different color, they would be treated differently. And that seems to be where the conversation is going as well. I'd like you to address both of those.
Oh, yeah, thank you for allowing me to do that. In the first place, Ruby Ridge, Waco, those other things started with violent actions. It started with murder. It started killing federal officers. It started killing with the ATF agents and then United States Marshals. That's not what we have here. We have basically a demonstration in an office building that frankly, doesn't hold a lot of merit. So we're talking about apples and oranges here. They're not the same situation. The only crime they've committed maybe is trespass. and that's certainly not worth a firefight. It's just not. With regard to double standard, I think the media should cover this. It's an armed confrontation. The media, I don't believe, generates issues. I think they report issues if it's done properly. I mean, look at the violence we have in Chicago. They're not covering that. That may be part of the double standards if there is one. But here, this is a major event. We have an armed confrontation with the FBI and heavily armed people. And I think, frankly, I hope people aren't looking for the worst case scenario here. But bottom line is, if we do this right, the FBI will, it'll be resolved peacefully and everybody go home.
Good to have your perspective.
And they get to report their cause, so maybe maybe some good will come out of it.
And we can all hope for that best case scenario in all of this. Danny, great to have you on the program as always. Thank you.
So,